Questions now open. Oh, Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
No, he's not here yet. Is that not?
Oh, he's not on there yet. Okay, thank you. Carried. You'll let me know when he's on. Okay. Number 4, presentations. We have none. Number 5, declarations of conflict of interest. You all understand what that is. If you have a conflict, you declare it, and at that time, you have to leave the room and explain to the city clerk. Number 6, adoption of the minutes. Councillor Gilmer.
Thank you. I move that the minutes of the council regular meeting held July 10th, 2023 be taken as read and adopted.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Edwards.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Head.
In favor.
Councillor Solomon. Are you on?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Notice of proclamations, I did 2 since our last meeting. 7.1 Terry Fox Day, August 7th, 2023. And 7.2 Aboriginal Head Start Day, August 31st, 2003. Number 8, public hearings. We have bylaw number 16 of 23 to zoning bylaw amendment for digital sign fees for second and third reading. I'll now call the public meeting to order, and I'll ask if there's anyone in council chambers that would like to speak to it. Seeing none, I'll then move to the Director of Planning to explain the position. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, members of council. This is second and third reading of bylaw number 16 of 2023. As you know, the Cities Act allows us as administration and you as City Council to set bylaws and fees and licensing and permits. And in doing so, we are allowed to charge for those documents. The cover to cost our time and our fees in relation to administering them. So with that, we reviewed the zoning bylaw when it comes to the provision of digital billboards, and bylaw 16 of 2023 increases the administrative fee from $250 to $400, and that is reflective of administration's time to enforcing that. We did a full review of other jurisdictions within the province, and we're in line with them as well. After doing public notice, we have not received any letters of support or feedback whatsoever. However, we do have a digital billboard currently that is awaiting the decision of City Council. So with that, I can answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Now I see no one else, so I'm going to call the public hearing closed, and I'll go to council on what is your wish. Councilor Coady.
Yes, I will move that bylaw number 16 of 2023 receive second and third reading.
Thank you. Seconder. Councilor Gilmer.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
Thank you. In favor.
Thank you. Oh, we're missing one vote. Well, that doesn't show, so we'll see here. I'm closing the vote. Oh, we'll see right away who did it. Oh. Oh, she pushed it. Okay, carried. No problem. City Clerk.
Mayor, we have bylaw number 16 of 2023 to amend the zoning bylaw to amend the fee schedule for digital sign permits from $250 to $400. This bylaw is for second and third reading.
Thank you, Councillor Cody.
I move that bylaw number 16 of 2023 be read a second time.
Thank you, Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Question's now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Councillor Cody.
Yes, I move that bylaw number 16 of 2023 be read a third time and passed, and bylaw number 16 of 2023 be now adopted, sealed, and signed by the mayor and city clerk.
Seconder.
I'll second that.
Councillor Gilmore, thank you. I'll prompt the question. Now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, delegations, we have none. Communications, we have none. Number 11, reports of administration and committee. 11.1, traffic bylaw number 35 of 2020 amendment.
Your worship, if I could,
Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and move this motion.
Okay.
You.
Thank you.
That bylaw number, yeah, sorry, if you want to, that bylaw number 18 of 2023 be introduced and given 3 readings.
Thank you. Councillor Zepp.
Second.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Question's now open. Councillor Head,
Yes, thank you, worship. I'm in favor.
Councillor Solomon.
Thank you. In favor.
Thank you. We will, yep. Okay, before we go to third reading, before we go to the readings, any discussion? Councillor Edwards?
Thank you, Your Worship. And just in comment in regards to the school zones, the addition of Queen Mary, Nicole, St. Anne's, Princess Margaret, Riverside School, I think that's the right move. I certainly believe so, but I also think that there is some other areas that are really of concern as well. And I don't know whether it's a speed limit that needs to be looked at, but Holy Cross, that on 15th, certainly needs to be adjusted somehow, some way. We need to take a comprehensive look at where, what we can do with the traffic there and make it safe for all people, the vehicles that are there, crossing over either intersection. It's a dangerous intersection. So I hope we don't forget about certain areas now that we've made some adjustments, positive adjustments. I know we can't do it all at one time, but I wanted to make those comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brodnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I agree with my colleague here that Holy Cross definitely needs to be looked at, and something needs to happen with that intersection, especially in the morning and then when school is being let out. People are parking all over the place. Kids are running all over the place. And I mean, they are supervised to the best of the staff's ability, but it is a dangerous intersection. The other thing I think that we should maybe start thinking about as well in these school grounds is extending it past 5 o'clock. Quite often in the spring and in the fall, and even in the summer, there's kids around. But in the fall and in the spring, there's all kinds of sporting activities that are taking place, and there are a lot of kids around there. I know on Brannion Drive, when River Riders football gets going, there's tons of cars, and there's a lot of kids and a lot of excitement. And people need to slow down in that long school zone past 5 o'clock on the nights that those activities are taking place. And so I know we don't want to change it right now, but it's something for our traffic manager maybe to study and see, is there a need in some of these school zones? And if there is, then we make them all up to 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night or whatever. Thank you.
And two, I'm going to acknowledge about Holy Cross. I don't have too many issues with the intersection because they have a very good, they have a school patrol. But it's to get to that intersection, I stop all the time because people stop, drop their kids on the right-hand side, and they dart across the street. And that frightens me because there's buses parked there, there's cars double parked. So it's a trap, especially in the morning. Like we back up now, I've been backed up some mornings all the way to 22nd Street with waiting to get through that intersection. So the traffic flow again, so I've noted it to have another look at it. So with that, I have someone, oh, go ahead, Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a really quick comment. Happy to see that this is finally, I apologize about the camera usage, but happy to see this is finally in front of us. I know it's been a long time coming since we discussed this bylaw change around school zones, and I know it's touching on some of the RV changes as well, RV campers. I know we've heard from residents about that. So
Yes.
happy to see those two additions in here. I guess the question, and I would hope that if we finalize this today, that we will see these school zones happening before the school year.
Yes, that was the whole intention of the signs are all ready to go. That was the intention, to get it going for this school year, this end of August, start of September.
Perfect. And if I could, then, if I'm still, I'd like to move this motion that bylaw number 18 of 2023 be introduced and read a first time, if there's no other speakers.
No, there isn't any. They're in the queue. Seconder. Councillor Edwards.
Seconded, Your Worship.
Okay, I'll prompt the question. The question is now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Back to you, Councillor Head.
I'm going to move that bylaw number 18 of 2023 be read a second time.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
Seconded.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Question is now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously again. Councillor Head,
Thank you. I'm going to move that leave be granted to read bylaw number 18 of 2023 a third time.
Councillor Edwards.
Seconded, Your Worship.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. I'd like to remind everyone for leave to be granted has to be unanimous. And the question's now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon. Yep. Councillor Solomon? Yes. Carried. Leave is granted. Councillor Head,
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to move that bylaw number 18 of 2023 be read a third time and passed, and that bylaw number 18 of 2023 be now adopted, sealed, and signed by the mayor and city clerk.
thank you. Councillor Edwards,
Seconded, Your Worship.
thank you. The vote is now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon,
Favor.
thank you. Carried unanimously. Okay, 11.2, Para Bus Tender. Councillor Kilmer,
Thank you. I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
And a possible motion prior to this
Okay.
motion. I'm not sure the order.
no, go ahead, the question.
So my question is for the Director of Public Works. I noticed that in looking up the Transit Assistance for People with Disabilities grant that was mentioned in this, that it says on the government, provincial government website, 75%, that the government, provincial government covers 75%, municipal 25, to a maximum of $55,000. So I'm just wondering, was there ever a time that the 55,000 covered 75%, and when was that, and where are we with that?
Acting Director of Public Works.
Thank you, Councillor Kilmer, and Mayor. So, yeah, if we looked back about 8 or 9 years ago, through our approvals, then at that time, it would have covered approximately 75% of the purchase of a new paratransit bus. Today, you're looking at it, it's that $55,000 is covering approximately 30 to 32%. So that's the change over time.
So approximately, did I hear you correctly? Approximately 9 years ago, the amount was 55,000 and has not changed over 9 years?
That's correct.
Another question in regard to the costs. Does the total cost also cover extended warranty, et cetera? Do we do that?
That would be included, but that would only be included up to the 55,000.
Okay, just further to my understanding of paratransit, we buy a bus every year and they cycle every 5 years. So there's currently 5 transit buses in service.
You've exhausted my detailed knowledge. I do know that we cycle them through. We do purchase them and cycle them
Okay,
through.
I'm just trying
year?
to have an understanding of where we are and how we manage.
Okay, just hang on, I'll put the. You're live, sir.
Okay. We have been buying every year to play catch-up. Back around 2013, a whole bunch of our buses were condemned due to SGI safeties. So we did buy three or four buses in 2014. So the life cycle is approximately 8 years on them. So right now, we are still replacing 14s, which are 9 years old now. And we have repaired the frames once on them. And next year's bus is 2016, and we'll be caught up because the one after that is 2018, so we'll have a gap for a year.
Okay, thank you very much for that information. I am in favor of this, but I would like to add more to the motion. Is that possible?
Yep, number 3, go ahead.
Or it can be a totally different.
Nope.
Just one second. That city administration, in partnership with the Prince Albert Community Services Executive Director, contact Honorable Joe Hargraves and the Honorable Alana Ross to discuss how best to proceed to increase the provincial support to the Transit Assistance for People with Disabilities grant in order to restore the 25% provincial municipal purchasing of parabuses.
Good motion. Okay, any more discussion? Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you. I'll second the motion.
Oh, okay,
That's what I wanted to.
okay, sorry. Okay, any other further questions? No more questions, I'm going to prompt Wasn't my request. But go ahead, Councillor Kilmer. Oh, no.
Sorry, I
Okay.
forgot about this part. I move
Jeff.
that the tender number 33 of 2023 for the purchase of a new parabus be awarded to Crestline Coach Limited at a total cost of $180,402.75, including all applicable taxes, with $55,000 to be funded from the Transit Assistance for People with Disabilities grant, and the remaining $125,402.75 to be funded from the Fleet Equipment Reserve, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute any applicable documents on behalf of the city if required. and that administration, in partnership with the Prince Albert Community Services Executive Director, contact members of Legislative Assembly ministers, the Honourable Joe Hargraves, and the Honourable Alana Ross, to discuss how best to proceed to increase the provincial support to the Transit Assistance for People with Disabilities grant in order to restore funding to the 75% provincial and 25% municipal for purchasing of pair of buses.
Thank you, and we did get a seconder. Okay, thank you. Jeff, could you shut your line off, please? You just gotta kill the podium. Okay, any other questions on this one? Seeing no one in the queue, I'm gonna prompt the question. And very good addition, because we can want the 75%. Questions now open. Councillor Head?
Thank you, Your Worship. With thanks to the mover, in favor.
Councillor Solomon? Not on. Okay, motion carries. Okay, so we'll move on. 11.3, 2023 Landfill Environmental Services. Councillor Zepp.
That the professional services agreement between the City and Tetra Tech Canada Inc. for monitoring, sampling, and reporting for the landfill for an estimated cost of $69,500 plus applicable taxes be approved, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and any other applicable documents on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Councillor Kilmer?
I'll second that, and I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering why estimating is in the, why it's estimated. The estimated cost
Yeah.
to the Director of Public Works, sorry.
Go ahead, Director.
To be honest, that's a very good question. I actually don't have the answer for you to that today. I do know we've had a number of I don't have a good answer. I apologize.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, I see no comments. Jeff? Thank you. I'm going to prompt the question. The question is now open. Councillor Head?
In favor.
Councillor Solomon?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. $11.4, Stantec Roadmax Professional Services Agreement Renewal.
Your Worship, if I could ask a couple questions.
Oh, good. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I look at the report, so thank you for the report. But it also says that Stantec also performs deflection testing on the city's artillery, collectors, and bus routes, and it goes on to say that it performs high-resolution street imagery to assist in claims and planning and pre-post conditioning and work. So it sounds like they do a lot of work for us year after year. But I guess the question I had is, like, at what point are we going to be trained on their software? Because I see that this is a pavement management system, a road matrix, and then I guess it comes with some consulting as well. But can you tell me what, a little bit in detail, what we're paying for and why we're continuing to pay for it year after year? And what's the benefit to it, please?
Go ahead, Acting Director, Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor, through to Councillor Head's inquiry. So the road matrix is done on about a third of the city every year. All of those services are included in this fee structure. The report indicates that switching over to a different program and a different company would require significant training and rework of all of our information and data. But we don't get trained up on it every year. So currently our staff are trained on this current program, and they do use it annually to assess the current condition of our pavement in the city.
I guess at what point do we own the program? I mean, because is it just something we're renting from them? Because that's what it seems like if we're doing the multi-year. That's kind of what I'm in a little bit of help with, if you would. If you...
Sure, thanks again for the question. We don't, so Stantec owns the program, but what they're actually doing is they're coming here with staff and equipment to actually come and assess the roads and the condition of the roadways. Then that information then gets put through their software to be able to generate the output that we get to help make decisions on our capital programming.
Okay, thank you, Director, for those answers.
Okay, any other questions to the director? Hearing none, Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. Yes, I do have questions.
Go ahead.
How many years has Stantec been doing this work in our city?
Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor, through to Councillor Miller's question. My understanding is they've been doing this since 2008.
Right. So I look at the condition of, and of course, I travel this road all the time. That's why I'm asking about this road. And it's a bus route as well. So from 9th Avenue, right up to 9th Avenue to 15th Street and also 13th Street, which is a bus route, all the way to 19th Avenue West is quite rough, and I encourage everybody to take the city bus, not our own vehicles, because our own vehicles can withstand the situation. But the city bus ride is a little bit rough going down 13th Street West from 9th Avenue to 19th Avenue, and I'm quite surprised that it hasn't made the list at all. Okay. And also the 9th Avenue West to 15th Street is an ambulance route to the hospital, and the ride is quite bumpy for the patients that are going to the hospital as well. Sure. And for a few years I've let it go and not said anything, you know, just to see if it would come up, and it hasn't. So I'm quite concerned that it has not come up through Stantec's reports. But I just thought I'd flag that for you. Thank you.
Sure, and I'll note those two as well for follow-up.
Councillor Zepp?
Question as well. This assessment that gets done, does it also, is this assessment being done on roadways that are not paved asphalt? I'm thinking of Nordale that it does not have pavement, or areas of Nordale that have millings?
So the actual surface assessment doesn't happen just because of the type of road surface. However, those roads are driven, and then the visual information is collected. So we do get visual information for that.
Does Stantec drive the roads and
Yes.
provide that information?
Correct.
And so then those roadways that are not paved, they are also a part of this matrix of what needs repair?
Not from the surface condition perspective, no. But they are within our regular maintenance. Of course, they don't fall within the paving program
Right.
that goes through annually in our capital projects.
And the same would be said about Cloverdale Road currently, because it's not currently paved. So
Correct.
it's not within the, that program. Thank you.
That's right.
Councillor Bodnick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move the motion and then just say something.
Yep.
That the multi-year professional services agreement between the city and Stantec Consulting Limited for the pavement condition assessment and road matrix update be approved for the following amounts, including taxes. A, $30,750.30 in 2023. B, $34,607.48 in 2024. And C, $40,333.65 in 2025, and that the services be funded by the roadways recapping program, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and any other necessary documents on behalf of the city. My comments are that we need a seconder, I guess.
Councillor Cody, are you up for a seconder, or do you have a question? No to seconder, or no for a question? Okay, sorry. So could I get a seconder? Hang on. Councillor Kilmer.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, is it me or is it Councillor?
No,
Cody?
you're up.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, since we've been flagging this pavement quality index, I think I feel a lot better on the roads that are being selected. It's being very transparent. I agree with Councillor Miller, though, that we have flagged 9th Avenue several times and still doesn't come up to be in that area with the pavement quality index stating that it needs to be resurfaced. And that surprises me. There's a few others, but on the most part, I think now I understand it anyways, and I think we're getting most of them right. We can't do, every street every year with our paving program, but I think on the most part, we are hitting some of the worst streets that need it in Prince Albert, and I expect next year that Sybil Crescent will be done in my ward, because that one is a really, really rough shape, and Cowan and part of Cook. I would suspect that will get done next year, so thank you.
Councillor Cody.
Yeah, just wondering, when have they last done the corridor of road on River Street East from 11th to 15th?
Thank you, Mayor and Councillor Cody, for the question. I don't have that information. I'd have to maybe touch base afterwards and get that details from that, and I can follow up.
That street is just absolutely rougher than rough can be. And it's been like that. I was the mayor, I don't know how long ago, it's so long ago I can't remember. And it hasn't been an ounce of work done, other than a wee bit of smoothing out of it. They did a little of that. But that pavement is in since the time of this city. That's how long it's been there. And there's been houses taken out because it was the oldest part of town. And there's been houses taken out, new houses going in, and of course, each time they go do the water trunks, and still no new pavement. And I'm just wondering, when might they do that? I would love to have it done before I die of old age, and I'm not so sure that'll happen, because I don't know how long I can hang on, and I'm just kind of waiting for them to maybe just take another peek at that piece of road. I don't very often complain about roads or anything like that, because I know that the city's big and we can only do so much. But there are certain roads that I think get a bit short shrift, and I think it's because you don't complain about them. It's the old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and maybe here we should squeak a little bit more. So if you'd be kind enough to kind of put a bug in their ear and say, we'll drive it once or twice, and maybe we can get a bit of new pavement. I'll talk about how long it was after.
Okay, I'm going to prompt the question. Question's now open. Councillor Head.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm happy to see the actual numbers in there in favor.
Councillor Solomon. Nope, he's not there. Okay, closed. Thank you. 11.5, a capculation cell inspection. Now, maybe before we move this, if I could have the Director of Public Works tell us what this cell is, what it does, or so people understand it. Go ahead.
Sure. In, I believe it was 2016, we had some development in the Cornerstone area of the city. As part of helping to get that development moving along, the city partnered up in helping to remove a bunch of creosote contaminated soil in that area. Now that soil had to go somewhere, so at the time we'd investigated areas to dispose of it. The only real cost-effective solution was to create an encapsulation cell. So this was built out at the bioreactor site off of Highway 55 east of the city. So that material was placed into a lined cell. It's with a lined cover, as well as soil, and it's seeded to grass. So now part of our the requirements for that, though, of course, is that we do monitoring. So we had monitored it for a number of years, and we've now put forward to the ministry that we should be only doing some inspections, and we should slow down our annual groundwater monitoring on that. So this kind of reflects that plan.
Okay, now is this a cell, and I might be crazy, but I have a extinguished colleague. Is this the cell where we added the beetles that eat curacao? Did we do that in that cell, or am I in the wrong cell?
That is not that location, no.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cody, you have a
Your
question?
worship,
Oop.
Your worship, if you could put me in the queue, please.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Cody. You'll move the motion, go ahead.
Yeah, I will move that the professional services agreement between the city and WSP E&I Canada Limited for site inspection and groundwater monitoring be approved, and WSP E&I Canada Limited for an estimated cost of $5,830 plus applicable taxes, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement and any other applicable documents on behalf of the city. If I can get a second, I just want to say a word.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Zep,
Second.
thank you.
Yeah, I
Back to you,
really want to
Councillor Cody.
commend the writer, and I think the writer is you. I commend the writer for what they've done here. We are finally honing in on this problem. They have gone and said to the Department of the Environment, look, we're getting a little tired of having to pay, and they're basically telling them, look, it's not going to be long, and we're going to have to cut it off. And they don't say it in those many words, but that's certainly what the intent is. And I agree with them, because we keep on spending that 5, 6, or 7, and it's been higher than that over the years. And I think it's time where something other than that has to be done. I mean, how long are we going to keep this thing? Are we going to do it? Is it going to be here forever, or do we finally do the reclamation and get rid of the problem? I'm not sure what you do there, but certainly I'm glad that you're speaking with the Department of Environment and trying to get the thing under control, which is a good idea.
Thank you. Councillor Head?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple comments. I'm in favor of the testing, not of this motion, and the reason why, looking at the report. In the report, it says this year, when faced with some significant management turnover, administration decided that in order to still meet the requirements for competing inspections, the site would need to be completed externally. I'm familiar with what our directors do, with what our managers do, and what our frontline staff does. And I've never known administration, which I would assume the directors and managers be doing some of this testing. So I'm kind of confused on why we're outsourcing this work. I mean, I know it's a small nominal amount. However, this is stuff I think we could do in-house if it's simply just gathering tests. So I am not in favor of this motion. Thank you.
Okay, Director, do you want to respond, or? Nope. Okay. Councillor Zep?
Same question for the director. In reading the report, I noted that as well. Why is it that it's being recommended that we outsource the work instead of performing the work ourselves?
I mean, to be honest, in large part, it's because it would have fallen under my area previously, and that realistically we weren't going to get to that, be able to get that done in this calendar year, internally.
Is that staffing? Is that the issue, or?
Yes, basically.
And then an unrelated question. The mayor mentioned beetles being used in a landfill cell to eat creosote. Are we doing that in another area?
Not that I'm aware of. I know we had previously had some bioremediation of soil from that area that was going on in the past, but I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, and then those are my questions. Just a comment, I agree with Councillor Head that of course we want this work to be done. However, the report did make it clear that it could be done in-house, but it's being recommended to do externally. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I see no one else in the queue, so I'll prompt the question. Question's now open. Councillor Solomon? that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Counselor Head?
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries 6-3. Thank you. 11.6, Second Avenue West Sidewalk. Counselor Miller?
Thanks, Mayor Dion, that the report be received and file, and I have a question after a seconder or something.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder somewhere? Counselor Edwards?
Seconded.
Thank you. Back to you, Counselor Miller, for questions.
Thank you. I was just wondering about, I'm concerned about the trees and after assessing them yesterday and looking at them on Second Avenue, that they are kind of overgrown. However, will there be replacements planted?
Nope. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor Dion, to Councillor Miller's inquiry. So yes, our practice is to, not at that location, but at another location in close proximity, we'll look to replace them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Zepp?
Couple of questions for administration. So is it our policy to charge property owners a fee for placing sidewalk improvements?
Go ahead, Director of Public Works.
Certainly, if somebody had come to the city and requesting to have a sidewalk added in front of their property that didn't currently exist, that would be something that would have to be paid for by the property owner.
And then if we're talking about an avenue, a non-fronting avenue, so our residential avenues where no properties are fronting to, if pavewalk is to be, or if sidewalk is to be placed there, then we do not charge property, our policy is we do not charge property owners for that, correct?
So
Avenues.
there are portions of the sidewalk that are along Second Avenue that are getting installed by the property owners. So just immediately to the south of this location, that block is actually getting installed. My understanding is per a previous agreement with that property owner. So yes, if you have a new development, typically what we would do is if there's a requirement for a sidewalk, that would get paid for by the developer, for example.
So the example that you gave, just for clarification, so you're saying there is a sidewalk going in this area that is being, and who is paying for that particular segment?
The property owner.
Okay. And then another question, if I may, just if you can think of some of our residential areas that have non-fronting properties, residential, if a sidewalk is to be installed there, a new sidewalk, we don't charge the property owners if it's a non-fronting. Is that right, to put in a sidewalk?
For a non-fronting?
Avenues, not streets.
If it was to be installed at the request of the homeowner, then I suppose it would likely be a custom work order that would be charged through the property owner. If it were to be installed as part of a program on behalf of the city that was decided by city council, then no.
Right, okay. And then question about the trees. Yeah, so I'd like to talk about those comparisons. So
So you're comparing those to Second Avenue?
Correct, that's correct, yeah. And
That's
what we should spend so we're receiving a grant and what we as council should spend the grant on. So maybe I'll flush that out.
Yes.
So do we want to spend this grant money on Second Avenue where we could charge the property owners, look, you're fronting, you're the property owners here, under our policy, we charge you for this sidewalk, do we do that? Or do we spend this grant money on areas of the city where we don't charge, there are other areas of the city that do require sidewalks, that have no one fronting them, no one to charge.
So maybe they don't want, it's a needs thing.
It may be. I mean, it often is through a petition, but in this case, we didn't receive a petition from the businesses saying we need sidewalk on Second Avenue. In this case, it's a recommendation from administration, which I can understand. We need sidewalk there. I don't dispute that. But how do we spend, how do we pay for that sidewalk on Second Avenue? Do we want to pay for it with this grant, or do we want to use that grant, those grant funds on areas where we're not otherwise charging? That's the issue. So I wanted to ask about the trees. So another question about the trees in this area. The report states that there are 4 trees that would have to be removed, that they are American elm, I think I'm getting that right, American elm trees that are about 40 years old, and they live to a lifespan of 200 to 250 years old. Is there a possibility of uprooting the trees and putting them somewhere else? And why is that?
I can answer that, but I'll let the director. It's just strictly the size. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Dion, to Councillor Lanxep's inquiry. So no, that wouldn't be possible just due to the age and the maturity of those trees. Typically, you need to, if you are going to relocate a tree that is in the maturation stage, you are going to have to do that probably in a time frame, I would estimate less than 10 years, if not even, you know, in that 5 to 7 year range. There's a lot of sensitivities to the tree when you're relocating it after it's been in place and maturing in a certain area. We wouldn't recommend it, and we don't believe it would survive just due to the lifespan that's already occurred.
Thank you. Is there a feasible way to install sidewalks and not disturb the 4 American elms?
Not at this location. If a sidewalk's to go there, and the visuals at this location attached to the report show it is quite close to Second Avenue, and then the private property that's just to the east of that is quite in close proximity. The only real location, if a sidewalk is to go in this area, is right on that boulevard.
Some areas of Second Avenue, they look, I don't know, this might be Public Works and Community Services, but some of our sidewalks on Second Avenue, I think, are winding, kind of an aesthetic look, if I'm getting that right.
That's what it's for, yep.
Is that something we'd consider here in doing and winding around the trees?
Not at this location. I mean, that's a fair question. I mean, that there is spaces where we can. We would accommodate that. This is fairly tight. We did look at that option in the Parks Manager's review when Public Works brought this forward. That was considered, but it isn't feasible at this location.
Okay, those are all of my questions.
Okay.
And I think I put forward so those are my thoughts on this report is, how do we want to spend this grant money? Do we spend it here, or do we charge the property owners for this sidewalk that is very badly needed?
Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess the vote will determine whether we agree with spending it here or not, and I definitely will vote in favor of spending the money on Second Avenue. Second Avenue is the major street that goes through Prince Albert. We want to have a good impression. We've been spending years on the beautification of our city, and of especially our core, going through the city and spending $75,000 a year on that beautification of Second Avenue in particular. And it's money well spent, and I think it sends a positive message that we're proud of our city, and we're proud of presenting a positive image of Second Avenue as people go through the city. So this will add to it. We also had this discussion about these connector sidewalks a couple of years ago, where we identified where we're lacking, and I can't remember if this one was part of it. Something tells me it was part of it, and we determined that and ranked them 1, 2, 3, and where our priorities are. And so I think that's part of what we're doing here is following through on some of the previous work that has been done. And I can't remember if it was this council or the previous council that I was on that we determined that. But it's again, it's moving forward, and it's following through on work that our managers and directors have done. With respect to trees, some of them, like I know in Crescent Heights, the city's going to have to remove some trees. The green ash are dying. I think it's called green ash. In front of my house, the tree is dying, and I thought it was elm, but they came and checked, and no, it's an ash, green ash. And so the city's going to have to take out these trees. 12th Street, when they took them out, I lived there. I grew up on that street, and those trees were rotted in the middle. They needed to go. And we have a arborist who knows what he's doing. He He's very talented. He's done great work in our city. And that's Tim Yeaman, our Parks and Open Spaces Manager. And I trust his judgment. He hates taking trees down. But there's a time where they do have to go. And they've outlived their usefulness in the city. So, and it's just a tree. We've got how many hundreds of thousands of trees in the city, or however many there are. And it's unbelievable. You know, I think it was 40-some thousand trees in the city, not counting Little Red. And so we have lots of trees. Anyways, enough said. I made my point, I think.
Thank you. I see no one else in the queue. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon,
In favor.
passes 8-1. Okay, 11.7, Recreation Coordinator, Aquatics attending World Conference on Drowning and Prevention.
Your worship, if I could.
Go ahead.
Thank you. That Lauren Harbach, Aquatics Recreation Coordinator, be approved to attend the World Conference on Drowning Prevention in Perth, Australia, from December 4th to 7th, 2023, at a cost of $3,650 to be funded from the Training for Aquatic Staff Reserve.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Kilmer.
I'd like to second it, and I have a question.
Go ahead.
Suggestion. In the report, I noticed that cost savings was being had by having our employee share a room with someone at no cost. And I feel a little torn about that part because she's representing us. I know when I travel, you need, sometimes some space to yourself. So even though I seconded this, I would like to suggest to our city administration that they approach maybe our partners, Saskatchewan Rivers Public School Division, because they benefit and participate in exactly what we have done over a number of years and really have done well with that program, that perhaps they'd be willing to cover no more than $1,000 of her costs so that she could maybe have a room to herself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if I could, Your Worship.
Just wait, the director was going to comment, and then I'll come to you, Councillor Head.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor Dion, to Councillor Kilmer's suggestion. So, as Council will recall, in our Frank Dunn Pool joint use agreement, at year end, we do reconcile with Sask River School Division on our expenses up to 38%. Training is one of those expenses, so they will participate up to 38% with this particular expense.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Head, you're up.
No, and I tend to agree. I'm super proud of Lauren. I mean, she's the representative of the city of Prince Albert very well in previous years, and she's going to be presenting at this conference. So super excited for her and for Prince Albert, and it'd be great to see her have proper amenities as well. I realize that she, likely will be agreeable to share and or limit some expenses, but I think we should be, treating our staff, at least giving them proper amenities.
Thank you.
While she's up, yeah.
Okay, the director's heard us, and he'll have a look at it. Okay,
Thank you.
I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. 11.8, Kinsman Park Diamond Improvements. Oh. Well, I'll let you. Go ahead.
Just a point of clarification. So if they find that they are able to cover her costs, because we've moved this with.
Yeah, the city manager has spending limits.
Okay, thank
so-
you very much.
And she's heard us. She's getting her own room. Okay, 11.8, Kinsman Park Diamond Improvements. Counselor Edwards.
Also move that a plan to improve Kinsman Park softball diamonds in partnership with the Prince Albert Minor Softball Association be approved. Two, that the city and Prince Albert Minor Softball Association recognize Ernie Marcotte with a memorial at Kinsman Park, with a further report provided to an upcoming city council meeting outlining specifics of the recognition once finalized.
Thank you. Seconder, Counselor Kilmer.
Thank you, I'll second it.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? I see no one in the queue. Now open. Counselor Head,
In favor.
Counselor Solomon,
In favor.
thank you. Motion carries. 11.9, 2023 Recreation Facility Grant Program, first intake. Oh, I don't even have the screen up, so.
That the following be approved under the first intake of the 2023 Recreation Facility Grant Program and funded through the Community Services Building Reserve. West Hill Community Club received $2,758 for replacement of concession countertops and taps, and Nordale Community Club received $8,953 for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning replacement.
Thank you. Counselor Miller,
I'll second Mayor Dion.
thank you. I see no one in the queue. I'll prompt the question. Try it again, prompt the question. Question's now open. Counselor Head,
In favor.
Counselor Solomon,
In favor.
thank you. Motion carries. Two thousand and, no, 2000, 1110 Bulk Vending Supply and Service Agreement. Counselor Kilmer.
Thank you. I'll move that the bulk vending supply and services agreement between the city and GLH Vending for the bulk vending services at city facilities for a 2-year term from August 24th, 2023 to August 23rd, 2025 be approved. That the vendor pay the city 37% of net sales from all machines at all locations, plus goods and services tax, with a minimum annual guarantee of $12,000 plus tax in each year for the term of the agreement, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Counselor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll second the motion.
Thank you. So I have a question for the director. Oh, sorry. Do we get over the 12, or has he ever hit the 12? Like, I see our machines, especially at the Outhouser Center, are frequently quite empty, so can you just comment on what the revenue is?
Thank you for the question, Mayor Dion. So with the exception, since we moved to GLH, and I believe it was around 2018, somewhere in that neighborhood, since the only 2 years, I guess the best way to phrase it is the only 2 years we haven't hit that minimum 12,000 was 2020 and 2021 because of
During
some of
COVID.
the impacts. Yeah.
So
But
it doesn't-
other than that, we have exceeded it.
Thank you. Counselor Zepp?
Question for Director of Community Services. Are we going to see a proposal to place bulk vending into the new upcoming arenas and aquatic center?
Well, I'll allow you to answer it, but that's still a year out.
Correct.
It's just natural, that's part of our business model, but we'll answer that. I'll allow you to answer it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Dion. So to Councillor Lennox Epps' inquiry, yes, we have identified that in the operating model framework. But as the mayor's alluded to, just more so to the timing, that bid will go out a little more in closer proximity to when we'll be opening, just because of having the equipment lined up, having the supplier available, but then also having somewhere to place that equipment. We don't want to line that up in too close of, in too far of proximity to the actual opening dates. We have identified it, but it'll be a separate process specifically for those facilities.
So it'll be a separate bid and companies can bid on it?
Yeah, it'll be a separate bid because this particular term goes to August 23rd of 2025. The facility in the current construction timeline that we have will be opening much sooner than that, so we'll do one more so specific to the new facility.
And then do we at council see that proposal before it goes out to bid?
Yeah, so as part of the operating model framework, one of the areas that we've identified in there of the 7 key focus areas is our concessions and the vending. So as part of that package, we'll be bringing forward the request for proposals for each of those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a comment, you know, it's revenue that we get each year, it's revenue. I just wonder how much the public want these bulk little toys and bulk candies in a new, shiny new facility or not. But I understand it's revenue, but it may also be a frustration as well.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Dion. With saying the machines are empty and stuff, I see that the vendor is from Alberta. Does he have employees that are hired from the city of Prince Albert that can fill up the machines while he's not here?
Yes, absolutely, Councillor Miller. So they do have a regional representative in our area and attends to us as one of their main contracts. So while noting that there are times it's empty, that's usually around major events where we do have a lot of attendance, and then they're filled up either during that event or shortly after.
With that comment, Director, since you said that, it should be filled up during the event. When we have a 4-day event and the machine's empty on day 2, I get frustrated day 3 and day 4 because, as my colleague said, it's revenue. And it's also their revenue. I do give the vendor credit that was doing the beverages. He has corrected that. He even asked us for storage. So when we have a big event like the powwow or these big tournaments, that he can store his product on site. It's important that that happens because we have these big events to generate revenue. And when our machines are empty, or in the future, we should look at our agreement that there's a penalty for that. We gain our revenue and they lose it. So just sort of something to think about in the future. Okay, I'm going to move to 1111, supply and service agreement, city concessions. Oh, I need to vote. Okay, I was just being sweet. Okay. We're now open and ready. Councillor Head.
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now 1111, supply and service agreement, city concessions. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move the motion. That supply and service agreement between the following parties for a 2-year term from September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2025 be approved. A, the City and Van Hoot Coffee Services for the supply and service of hot beverage product and equipment at city concessions. B, the City and Premium Brands operating GP Inc. for the supply and service of frozen beverages, product, and equipment at city concessions. C, the City and Premium Brands operating GP Inc. Incorporated for the supply and services of nachos and popcorn products and equipment at city concessions, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
Seconder. Counselor Edwards.
I'll second it, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any questions? I see no questions. Questions now open. Counselor Head,
In favor.
Counselor Solomon,
In favor.
thank you. $11.12, 2022 public accounts.
Your worship, if I could,
Yes,
I'll move that the 2022 public accounts be approved and posted on the city's website.
thank you. Seconder, Counselor Miller.
Yes, Mayor Dion, I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'm going to prompt the question. Questions now open. Counselor Head,
In favor.
Counselor Solomon,
In favor.
motion carries. $11.13, first-time home buyer applications. Counselor Brodnick,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that the first-time home buyer program application submitted by Darian Frantic be approved for funding of up to $5,000.
thank you. Seconder,
Thank you, Mayor. I'll second it.
thank you. Any questions or discussions? I have a question for the director. We have a limited number, am I correct? And where are we today with this one?
Thank you, Mayor. We have, this program was developed by the Planning Advisory Committee and approved by City Council. So we anticipated 6 applications per year. However, we can approve as many as we like. So there isn't a hard limit.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
this is
very
our,
good.
this is our 4th application as well, just for information.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's good to know that you want to build, we're with you. Okay, I'll prompt the question. Now open, Counselor Solomon,
In favor.
Counselor Head,
Big congratulations to Darian. In favor.
thank you. It is carried. $11.14, residential concept plan, 2105 Fifth Avenue West. Counselor Edwards,
Also move that administration be authorized to organize a public meeting for the residential concept plan submitted by Miller Contracting Limited for 2101 Fifth Avenue West. And 2, that the feedback from the public meeting be forwarded to an upcoming executive committee for consideration.
thank you. Counselor Cody,
I'll second that.
thank you. Questions? Counselor Zepp,
We, as a city, put out an RFP for this development, and in the RFP, we proposed 0.3 to 0.5 of an acre for green space. It is completely inadequate green space for this community, and we need to revisit that, reconsider a
Okay.
larger park space.
whose opinion is that?
So I'm
Of yours?
I'm the elected representative for Ward 2, and Ward 2 borders this property. I also have received correspondence from people who live in the neighborhood who are expressing great disappointment in this and the prior proposal because it's us as council. We presented an RFP that asked for 0.3 to 0.5 of an acre of green space. And currently, the current neighborhood uses that green space. They use it for walking, people cross-country ski in that green space, and that is a real major concern. It's a loss of public green space for a neighborhood, and they don't have other close neighborhood parks in this West Hill, very mature neighborhood. And so people use it. This type of development would remove it. It would mean we would have a small sliver of green space, but it is wholly inadequate. And so I am interested in hearing further from if we do have a public meeting. I would note that myself, people that attended the public meeting of 2019 were myself, the mayor, and Councillor Zurakowski from the elected. And what we heard at the public meeting, and the mayor will recall, and administration were there as well, was that the public was very intent on green space, that they wanted to have green space, and that they wanted playground equipment, because you'll recall, there were 3 very old metal pieces of equipment from the old school that people were using, they said, but we removed them because they were no longer adequate, right? And so those were 2 items that really strongly came out of some very passionate people that of the community that attended that public meeting. Playground equipment and green space were important.
And I agree. I was at that meeting with you, and we agreed to replace the 3 pieces of equipment. And the proposed space that they're leaving will more than adequately hold 3 pieces of equipment and leave green space. If you're so adamant about it, join me and raise a fundraiser and make it better. But till it gets through council, you and me have to be neutral on this because we want to hear from the public. So we don't want to be out there as elected influencing other people. That when it comes to council, we have to be neutral. Otherwise, we're going to be in a conflict of interest and we'll have to disqualify ourselves. That's why we have a public hearing, to hear from what the public has to say, and I think we should wait till that process.
I'm going to, just to further to my point, so I have received correspondence from a citizen who lives in the area stating, this has always been our park space. It is space where you can have batting practice, learn how to hit and field a baseball, teach kids how to punt a football.
Can you have them bring that letter up at the public hearing? I don't want to debate it here because we're supposed to be neutral when it comes to council. And you're not being neutral, you're trying to influence other people right off the bat. So I would ask you to leave it, let the department have their public meeting, and then you can have your comments after the public meeting.
I'm very interested in attending the meeting as are members of the community. And we are today voting and making a decision and voting if this particular concept plan go to that public meeting.
Yes.
And
So let's let it get there so the public has a chance to speak on it. You're trying to influence the public with your comments before a public hearing. So I'm soon going to call you out of order. The whole idea of a public meeting is to hear from the public, not the elected. And then it goes to a public meeting, then the director brings a report back to us, then we get into the discussion, when a decision's going to be made, and not till that point. So I'm just cautioning you, I'm soon going to call you out of order if you keep being on one side of the issue and not the other when we're going to a public meeting.
today we are voting on the issue of suggesting this, showing this concept plan at a public meeting. I have a question for administration. My question is, is part of this proposal that the city plant trees and shrubs in this green space?
Well, trees, it should be part of the concept.
This motion has nothing about trees, nothing about playground equipment, nothing about anything other than a public meeting. That's what this motion is. And so we should be debating whether we have a public meeting or not a public meeting. Not whether we're gonna plant trees, put a sidewalk, do, a spray park and hocus pocus and all this other stuff. This is not a public meeting, and that's my point, so.
No, I agree.
Questions is out of order.
Okay, I was giving her some leeway. So do you have any other questions referring to the public meeting?
Point of order. So if that were correct, we would not, then we can't discuss the concept plan, right? Part of the concept plan is
No, and we should not be. I'm trying to explain this to you. The process is we called for an RFP. We got a concept plan. Our job is to move it to a public hearing, hear from the public first, then it comes back to us for debate. You're trying to add your comments to influence some of the public debate. We want more green space, we want this, we want this. You're not a resident I want to hear from the residents of that area on what they want. And then I'll listen to you debate about trees, grass, sidewalks, or anything else. But at this point, it's just a concept plan, and we're asking here to ask the public their opinion.
So we have a concept plan here. So I would like to know, Mr. Mayor, within the concept plan, will we be intending to plant trees and shrubs?
That will be answered after the public meeting when it comes back to us.
That's
They-
not a part of this current
They,
concept.
they may, we don't know. They may ask for 20 trees, they may ask for none. We don't know.
So we as a city are proposing a concept plan at a public meeting. In that,
We are not.
we are not proposing this concept.
No, we're moving it forward to hear from the public. We are not voting on a concept plan. Okay, I'm going to rule you out of order on the simple grounds that you're interfering with the process. The process is, we ask for an RFP, it goes to the department hosts a public meeting, then it comes back, and then as elected, then we get involved about trees, playground equipment, or anything else once the plan has been vented publicly.
At the public meeting, if the public ask if the city is willing to plant trees and shrubs,
Then it can be, the resident can ask us then. We don't know. They may not want trees. Are you, do you have some information that you're not sharing with us, that you know that the meeting is going to be set up so that they get trees or they get grass? I don't understand where you're going with this. So I'm ending the debate. I ruled you out of order.
thank you.
The motion is now open for voting. Councillor Solomon?
Opposed.
Councillor Head?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. (11:15) Tax title lands disposal of 1610 15th Street West. Ooh. Councillor Miller,
Thanks, Mayor Dion.
you're welcome.
That the tax title property located at 1610 15th Street West be offered for public tender. Upon completion of the public notice and tender process, administration forward a report to City Council for consideration with recommendation regarding the results of the public tender process and next step.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll
Councillor
second that, Your
Gilmer.
Worship.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Head. Sorry, Councillor Gilmer. I forgot he was up
Didn't
there.
mean to jump in there, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on this item? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Question is now open. Councillor Solomon,
In favor.
Councillor Head,
In favor.
motion carries. Thank you. 11:16, board and committee appointments, current vacancies. Councillor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that the following appointments for members at large to City Council's board and committees be approved for the term ending December 31st, 2024. 1, Ellen Grucock and Naresh Saroy to the Community Service Advisory Committee, and number 2, Sharon Gravachowski to the Planning Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Councillor Miller.
I'll second Mayor Dion.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Question is now open. Councillor Head,
In favor.
Councillor Solomon.
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. 11:17, action items from City Council and Executive Committee. Okay,
They're both mine. So
Counselor Brodnick,
I'll move that as well, that the action items be updated as indicated in the open items document with the following amendment. One, that public abuse policy and procedure report be brought forward to the August 14th, 2023 Executive Committee meeting for consideration.
thank you. Seconder? Oop. Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine.
You're fine? Okay, seconder? Counselor Cody? Thank you. We'll prompt the question. Action items. Open. Vote is now open. Counselor Head?
In favor.
Counselor Brodnick? Counselor.
In favor.
Thanks, Darren. It's my first skip. Okay. Unfinished business, we have none. Mayors and councilors forum. Counselor Brodnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have one. I just want to thank, thank everybody for their help and attendance at the opening of the Ed Laird Park on Muzzy Road. I want to thank my colleagues, Councillor Kilmer, Councillor Solomon, and Mayor Dion for attending. I also want to thank the positive media coverage. Michael Lexon, who's here from the Prince Albert Daily Herald, and Derek Craddock from PA Now did very positive reporting on this park opening. I also want to thank the Anna Vets Color Party for attending. That was very nice. And in the city manager's office, Lucy, who has been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for the 3 park openings that I did, I want to thank her for doing that as well. Mr. Laird, turned 100 years old in May and was able to attend and spoke and was very happy that we have a park named after him, and it's rightly so that it's named after him. Anybody that questions, this is it's just silly. He's such a great man and a great hero. As I said, a young boy who grew up on the prairies, a man who answered the call of duty, a champion who stormed the Ortona, Sicily, and then liberated the Netherlands from the Nazis, and in my opinion, a Canadian hero that's still present today. So it was a great opening. And I just want to announce to the public that our next openings is in August 19th, Saturday at 1 o'clock. We're opening the official opening of the Eldon Laudermilk Park on River Street. And then at 2 o'clock, our colleague across his park, Don Cody Park, will be opened at 2 o'clock that day. And so we invite the public to attend, and city management, etc., to come and join us in celebrating these 2 worthy recipients and why we have parks named in their honor. When people read and hear about the accomplishments of people and all that they've done, and it goes unnoticed, and when you hear that at the park opening, you say, yes, the city got it right. We made the right decision in opening these parks. So thank you to the 3 parks that we officially opened, and I look forward to the 2 on the 19th, and then following that on the 26th, Myron Kowalski Park. So thank you.
On the 26th. And then shortly after that, Grand Council will be announcing their ceremonies, 3 parks, so that excites me. But I just want to share one other thing about Mr. Laird. What I really liked about that date, he felt so uncomfortable. And the reason he was uncomfortable, and I think I have to share, the public needs to know this, he felt uncomfortable because he didn't have his medals on. And the reason he explained it, at his birthday party at the museum, he donated his uniforms and his medal to the museum. So we'll have a memory of Mr. Laird forever in our museum, and I kudos to him, because that is a great part of our history, especially him turning 100. And his family, great-grandchildren, everyone's there. It was just a great event. So to you, Dennis, thank you for organizing it, because it does take lots of work. And I'm looking forward to recognizing some of the rest. Yep. No? Oh, hang on, just give me a minute.
Sorry.
You're
Yeah,
up.
you know, Mr. Laird felt bad because he always stressed that at Legion functions, you always wear your Legion uniform, and he didn't have it. It wasn't a Legion function.
Yeah.
It was a city function, it was a ward function. And I told him that. I said, Mr. Laird, you didn't have to wear your Legion uniform. You were not out of place. I know he felt bad
Yeah.
about that, and he shouldn't, because it wasn't a Legion function. So
No.
I just needed to add that.
Yeah, and we're so proud of him. Okay. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you very much. I had a couple of things that happened since our last city council meeting. I had the pleasure of volunteering and bringing greetings from the city at the opening of the Under 11 Baseball Tier 7 Championship. There were 8 teams from within our province at our new facility, our Kinsman facility, and it was fantastic. We did learn that in a high wind, do not turn on the water sprinklers because your volunteers that are scorekeeping will get wet. So we always learn something, which is very, very fun. But lots of families, great weather, and the facilities looked fantastic. I also was able to ask to bring greetings on behalf of council for the soft opening of the Rotary Adventure Park. There's still lots of work to be done. The grass is seeded, asking citizens to stay off the grass, put the benches in place, the garbage cans in place. But the most important part of that facility, the playground, is up and running. And what a great day. Thank you so much to the Rotary Club. Thank you very much to the Jenkins Family Foundation for their partnerships were great. But really, really great gratitude toward our city parks manager and all the city employees that they just went above and beyond. It is well thought out. Took some time, but time makes it a very well thought out place. And lots of people had so much fun that day. 2 thumbs up by all, but especially the Kilmer granddaughter. She was there, and she just thought it was fabulous. My daughter and my granddaughter together went on the one of the
Zip lines.
Zip lines. They were. My daughter says no, it is not weighted for 200 pounds because she and my granddaughter bottomed out, and one of them might not have been the right weight that they thought. So, just a heads up for that. And lastly, I'd like to just make sure and invite everyone on Saturday, August 26th at 1:30 at Southwood Park. We are celebrating with the Kowalski family the opening of the Myron Kowalski Park. Trinity Ukrainian Church will be there. Many people from within our community to honor the park named after Myron.
Time.
1:30. Rain or shine.
Right on. Thank you. Councillor Zapp.
Thank you. I wanted to congratulate the Community Services Department on a really great Kids Fest this year. It was phenomenally put on, as it is every year. There were so many children out really enjoying the day, and it looks like it takes a lot of work. It's put on by the city and the summer playground leaders, I believe, and so it's really appreciated and very well attended. And so congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I have 2, one congratulations and one announcement. Our U13 boys, Royals, won provincials, and they'll be going west to play in the Western. So I want to wish them all the luck and the best. They're great ambassadors. But I'd also remind everyone this Wednesday that the U15 Canadian Baseball Championships are hosted here in PA. Oh, sorry, wrong field. Baseball, softball at Prime Minister's Park, or in the Rotary Field, they call it. So we want to get everyone's name in. And so I am excited about that, whenever we can show up. So, and it's another example, if you have the facilities, you can attract these big nationals. And again, we're suffering again with my office getting calls that we have no hotel rooms available. But I assured them that come October, we'll have another 125 rooms coming on with the new Holiday Inn opening. And so that'll help us, but we're getting lots of inquiries about events strictly because of our fields. So everyone that's involved in helping us get those fields built, I want to thank you and congratulate you. Okay, I see no one else in the queue, so I'm going to move to inquiries. And I have an inquiry to Public Works. When we fixed up Marcus Road, we put a new entranceway in for McDonald's that lines up with the one from Canadian Tire, with my understanding that that entrance was going to be open, the other one was going to be closed. Well, again, this long weekend explains why we need that entranceway opened. We were blocked up in the street. That's a very dangerous intersection because we all come in that narrow little curve right there and they're trying to turn right. And so I think we've done the right idea. We just have to get it open. Does Public Works have any idea when that new entranceway will be open to McDonald's? Go ahead, Director.
Thank you, Mayor Dion, for the inquiry. To be honest, I don't know the full history on that entranceway. I understand there was some development work to be done on their side, that we put it in anticipation of that. So I will follow up with the history on that and I can get back with an answer.
Yeah, because it is a very good idea. It lines up, for people that don't know, it lines up with the entrance to Canadian Tire, so it's making it an intersection. The biggest thing is getting it away from the curve. That's the killer there. You have the curve, and of course, we have a cement divider in the middle to keep us on that curve. So it's important that we get that done. Councillor Miller.
Thanks, Mayor Dion. There's a few inquiries that I have today. There's trees growing out of curbs on 91 MacArthur Drive and 17th Street West and 16th Avenue. That's trees in curbs, like not where they're supposed to be. Also, there's a repair job need to be done on concrete, a sidewalk. The address is on the piece of paper. Also, somebody had brought up to me that there's supposed to be a COVID-19 memorial park that was asked for. Not too sure if it's in the works or not, but I'll wait for that response in a couple of weeks. Thanks.
Okay, you'll have to wait. That's news to me. Okay. Councillor Kilmer.
Thank you. My question is for the Director of Public Works. When is the anticipated completion of Fifth Avenue East?
Thank you, Mayor, through to Councillor Kilmer's inquiry. At the moment, we're still waiting for some parts to come in for backflow prevention on a storm sewer line, as well as I know we have one of those water main relining projects planned. My understanding is that the contractor is here or is getting set up right away, but for the exact dates, I'd have to get back to you.
Okay. Councillor Edwards.
Thanks, Your Worship. I'm just wondering, who owns the property, whether it's city property, between just outside the Ramada on 2nd Avenue? So there's trees in front of the Ramada, kind of in between the empty parking lot to the south. I wonder, is that city property? Do you know the section that I'm talking about?
Yes, you're talking the section that's in between the Ramada and the KFC.
I'm talking about the little boulevard that is, I don't know whether it's a boulevard, but it's treed right outside to if you're facing the Ramada to your left, there's trees where it's constantly littered, and every day there's litter there. I'm wondering who owns that property.
Won't be the city, so we'll get bylaw on it.
Yeah, because the property owner should be responsible
Yes.
for that litter right on our main traffic area.
And I'm pretty sure they are because a few years ago, we allowed them all to move closer to the road. There was a service road there under the condition that they develop it and they keep it in A1 condition. So we also have an agreement so we can get that straightened out and the department's flagging it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other inquiries? Okay, I see none. Will we go to number 15, July 10th, 2023, City Council meeting inquiry responses. Go ahead, Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that the inquiry responses be received as information and filed.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Kilmer?
I'll second that.
Thank you. I'll prompt the question. Questions now open. Councillor Solomon?
In favor.
Councillor Head?
In favor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Notice of motions? Motions? We have none. Public forum? We have none. Councillor Kilmer? Oh, you did? Okay, I'll back up. Ready to turn your lights on? Notice of motions? Oh. Councillor Edwards.
Mayor Dion, I have a notice of motion that administration prepare a report for budget on the cost of installing a sprinkler system along sections of the riverbank that encompass our downtown
Okay, irrigation. Yep.
irrigation.
Okay, any other ones? No, motions, public forum, Councillor Kilmer.
I move that this council do now adjourn.
Seconder,
I'll second Mayor Dion.
thank you. Now I'm prompting the question because I gotta fill in the sheet and it's the last one. Councillor Solomon,
In favor.
Councillor Head,
In favor.
and thank you too for joining us remotely. We're adjourned, so thank you everyone. Have a good day.